Hi, it's Catherine Franke from Columbia Law School. In the last half hour, I've gotten tons of calls and emails from people saying, did you see the story in the Wall Street Journal that Columbia is going to be governed under a consent decree with the federal government overseeing everything at the university? So what does this mean? A consent decree is an agreement that's entered into by two parties who are in litigation, who are in a lawsuit, and that agreement is then signed by the judge. And then the terms of that agreement become enforceable by the judge as law, essentially, between those two parties. Normally, you see consent decrees entered into, for instance, in cases where the federal government has investigated a police department. There are many of them across the country for engaging in discriminatory practices towards the citizens in that town or in that area. And then they enter into a consent decree whereby that police department is overseen by a policing expert who makes sure as a monitor that the police department is complying with the terms of that agreement that the city entered into with the federal government, basically to not discriminate on the basis of race or other reasons. So what could, I guess, happen with Columbia is that the federal government is litigating against Columbia for violating Title VI of the Education Act, which prohibits national origin and race discrimination, and Columbia and the government could enter into a consent decree that the judge would then sign and then appoint some sort of person who would oversee the running of Columbia University. So what that means basically is that the university is being put into receivership, not just a department, which we already agreed to, but the entire university. Never seen this before. It's a highly unusual kind of occurrence for a private party to be placed under this kind of federal monitoring. But that's basically what people are talking about. A lot more needs to be revealed to see if this is actually going to happen.